How's it going, everyone? Salvi for Mars 1000. Today is March 2nd, 2021, and today we're going to keep track of this low pressure that could dump a decent amount of rain throughout the southeast, which could raise concerns of flash flooding or maybe even river flooding over the next several days, as we will not only have this low pressure system but another low pressure system coming right behind it to bring a heavy amount of rainfall to the southeast this week. And we'll also talk about the current major wind threat that's impacting the northeast at this point. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the GFS model, and you see that this I'm talking about this rainstorm for the southeast in the very short-term future, where only going 24 hours out during the forecast hour, which is around the time frame where the computer models aren't really that, I wouldn't say useful, but they aren't really necessary by the time we're talking about forecast 24 hours out, since there is going to be very little changes in terms of the forecast and what you should expect, as typically a futurecast radar would better exemplify how much rain you're going to get when we're talking about a forecast within only 24 hours out. But you see that in the GFS model, we see that there's a large area of rain extending through Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and throughout Florida as well. And we do see the yellows, which represent heavier rainfall rates as well. So you guys definitely need to keep in mind that some of these rainfall rates could be heavy at times, and that could lead to flash flooding. Although it might not rain a ton, like let's say it won't rain, even if it won't rain something like 5 inches, if it only really takes 1 inch within a very short time period, or even less than that, to cause flash flooding in some small creeks. So you guys need to keep that in mind if you're in the southeast, because I think tomorrow could raise the concern of flash flooding because of how fast some of these thunder showers will move through and dump heavy rainfall. So you guys need to pay close attention to this over the next 24 hours. If we take a look at the Futurecast radar, you see that the thunder showers begin developing later during the day as unstable air rises, where the shortwave radiation from the sun will hit the Earth's surface, and it will warm up the surface, and as a result, the air molecules will move around more, and they will hold more water vapor as a result, to be able to fill up the atmosphere with a lot more moisture, which will eventually condense and rise as a result of the increased amount of unstable air during daytime heating. So we're going to see more thunderstorms develop throughout the morning of March 2nd, today on Tuesday, and I'm recording this very early, as you can tell. So by the time you're watching this video, it's probably going to be right around 1, and you see that there's going to be a large area of thunderstorms and thunder showers throughout Florida and Georgia as well. And headed even further out into the forecast, you see the thunderstorm bands continue, and we see another burst of thunderstorms right behind this initial burst we were seeing in the morning, as is expected that these thunder showers won't end until very late on Tuesday into early Wednesday, where we begin to see the thunder showers move off the coast. But for the most part, you see that a lot of Georgia and South Carolina are still under heavy rain showers at times, where we do see the yellows, which represent heavier rainfall rates. And this could last for a very long time, especially for southern Florida and the extreme southern portions of South Carolina, where I think they're going to be the worst hit, because the low pressure system will be at its max intensity when it comes to precipitation once it reach further eastward you go, which means that Georgia and South Carolina are right at the target. And also, most of the precipitation will lie just to the east of directly to the east of this low pressure system, which means that Florida might not get much rain from this, since primarily the low pressure system is going to be far too north from you guys to bring as much rain as, let's say, Georgia and South Carolina. However, I'd say the Florida Panhandle could definitely be in that flash flood threat, because you guys are far enough north to be in that rain area, so you guys need to keep that in mind. And you can't rule out the chance of flash flooding through Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. While it's less likely because the low pressure system won't be as developed as it will be by the time it reaches Georgia, you guys still need to keep that in mind because rain is highly likely from this, and thunderstorms could definitely be possible from this, even though they might be short lived and fast moving in your area. So, none of these thunderstorms will be severe, which is good news because there isn't going to be a ton of unstable air in the southeast by this upper level low moving through, because you see the jet stream has kind of straightened out and moved far too far up northward from how it looked like last Sunday, where we saw a big dip in the jet stream throughout the Midwest. But you see now the jet stream has pushed a little bit further up northward, and I'd say it's in part due to the positive Arctic oscillation we are currently experiencing. So it's less likely that cold air will meander further south before it gets completely swallowed up by the strong westerlies that are induced by a positive Arctic oscillation. So as a result, we won't see enough cold air interact with that warm Gulf of Mexico air to cause a severe weather threat. However, there will be just enough unstable air to at least cause some thunderstorm and thunder shower activity in the southeast, and I think it could definitely cause flash flooding, especially since these thunderstorms won't really be associated with a pronounced jet stream dip, which would otherwise speed up this low pressure system. This is an upper level low that's going to move through the southeast, and upper level lows are pretty much cutoff lows that are what the name says it itself. They're cut off from the jet stream. So as a result, they like to meander. They're a lot slower than your typical troughs that move through the northern hemisphere because they're cut off from the jet stream and they don't really have a pronounced or really a defined steering flow. So as a result, this upper level low is going to move relatively slowly compared to other troughs you've experienced in the southeast, and there will at least be just enough unstable air to cause some thunderstorm activity, especially towards Georgia and South Carolina, which is the reason why I'm concerned regarding the heavy rain threat with this low pressure associated with this low pressure system, because it's going to be slow moving and at least develop a decent amount of thunderstorms to make me concerned that this could maybe be a flash flooding threat. While I don't expect it to be anything specifically major, you do not want to underestimate this around Georgia and South Carolina, because if we take a look at the rainfall forecast over the next 24 hours, you see close to 2 inches of rain is expected right around Savannah, Georgia, and right around Charleston, South Carolina is also in the mix of 1 to 2 inches of rain. And this extends to southern Alabama, and just north of the Florida Panhandle is experiencing over an inch of rain and close to 2 inches of rain as well. I almost said snow because I'm so used to saying inches of snow based off of how active this winter has been. But yeah, I'm talking about rain, and talking about 1 to 2 inches of rain over a 24-hour period is always something you want to at least keep an eye on, because if your river is already high in your specific location, or if you live nearby a creek, it could easily flood if that rain falls within a short time period. And I think it has potential to, by how slow moving and how many thunderstorms will develop as a result of this upper level low moving through. So I'd say in Georgia and South Carolina, just be aware of this. You might want to make second thoughts on making those outdoor plans. I know you guys want spring to come already, but tomorrow is definitely not going to be the day to enjoy the outdoors since it's going to be raining a lot. And remember, if you see a body of water on the roadway, remember to turn around and don't drown. However, this won't be the only low pressure system we're going to keep an eye on for this week in the southeast that could dump a good amount of rain. We're also going to keep track of this next low pressure system, which is going to originate from the weak subtropical jet, where we're going to see a low pressure oddly come off the southwest United States right around Los Angeles and San Diego, and we're going to see low pressure system meander and move through the Midwest and eventually into the Southeast, where it'll reach its peak intensity, not only in terms of its raw intensity, but in terms of precipitation as well. Where we're going to see a large area of precipitation extend through the Southeast, and we could see this develop into quite a decently sized storm, especially since there's going to be a pronounced jet stream dip in the Northeast right around March 7th, which is approximately 120 hours from now. And while it isn't taking the heaviest of rain towards the Southeast, as while it is definitely taking a decent amount of heavy rain throughout the Southeast, where we do see the yellow contour colors, which represent higher rainfall rates, you see that it doesn't really develop into its peak intensity when it comes to rainfall until it's off the coast of Florida, which definitely is good news for a lot of you guys, since you don't want to see the heaviest of rain pretty much jump over Florida or Georgia or any states in the southeast, since obviously that could create flooding concerns. However, we're 5 days out with this forecast, and I could easily see the storm developing a little bit earlier, to the point where we do see a much more significant rainfall threat for the southeast. And it really all depends on how pronounced this jet stream dip is, because there's still that possibility that this jet stream dip isn't really as pronounced as the computer models are forecasting. So we won't see much of any major rainfall threat from this. However, if this jet stream dip dips far enough south, I could see this becoming a problem for the southeast, where you definitely need to keep a close eye on this. And it really all depends on this jet stream dip to determine how much unstable air will really create convection surrounding this low pressure system. If we take a look at the 120-hour rainfall forecast for the southeast, you see that still a large area of over an inch of rain, and and in some areas you could see 3 inches of rain or more in Georgia and South Carolina. And then moving to the southeast and moving towards my map, you see that I'm forecasting 3 to 5 inches of rain over the next 5 days, based off of my experience, based off of what the computer models are forecasting, and the European model agrees with this as well, where we could see over 3 to 5 inches of rain right around Georgia and South Carolina over the next 5 days, which is significant, and it could cause flooding concerns, since having 3 to 5 inches of rain over a 5 day period could be an issue. So keep that in mind if you're in the southeast. We need to keep this, could easily change. Like I keep saying in every other video, when I'm talking about forecast 5 days out, there's still a lot of uncertainty, especially with the latter rainstorm that's expected to hit the southeast. However, I could say with confidence that you will at least experience 1 to 2 inches of rain throughout this entire area, based off from this first rainstorm alone. So I'd prepare for that if you're in the southeast, as if you're going to get around 2 inches of rain from this. And you might want to prepare even more if the certainty gets higher that we're going to see an even bigger rainstorm come to the southeast later during the week. I'd say just be aware of this in the southeast, that you're going to receive heavy rainfall tomorrow, and just make sure to prepare if you are in a flood situation, because it's better to be safe than sorry. And I want all you guys to be safe. But outside of these two rainstorms, it's going to be relatively quiet for most of the United States. We do see a little bit of precipitation throughout the Northwest Pacific headed into a 5 day mark, but even then, over the next, I'd say 3 days, it's going to be primarily dry for most of the West Coast, for most of the Midwest, and a lot of the Northeast and Southeast as well. We will see below average. Well, I wouldn't say below average, because this jet stream will straighten out eventually to a point where you're going to see primarily average temperatures throughout most of the United States, and there won't be enough jet stream dips or enough jet stream, I'd say, bumps to really have an area where in the United States where it's going to be well above average or well below average. As for the most part, it's going to there's going to be average weather for most of the United States for this week. However, one thing I'm concerned about in the short term, very short term future, in fact, is the wind threat that's impacting the Northeast, where high wind warnings are issued in some areas in the Northeast, more specifically in Maine and New Hampshire, where we do see high wind warnings issued, and for a larger area impacting many more people, we do see wind advisories in effect as the National Weather Service has detected the chance that many of these areas under a wind advisory will experience wind gusts over 40 miles per hour and close to 50 miles per hour or more in some areas. So you guys definitely need to at least be aware of this. Make sure to bring those loose things inside because they can easily blow over. I already but tonight I already like saw some things like in my backyard blow around, and so it's definitely something you need to keep and watch to because those loose things in your backyard or right around your house could be projectiles which could damage your home or even hurt someone. So at least be aware of that. Make sure to bring those loose things inside because it's better to be safe than sorry, especially when we're talking about wind gusts right around 40 to 50 miles per hour for later today. And if we take a look at the if and you might be asking when will this end? It should end, I'd say, right around Tuesday afternoon, where this low pressure system will be far enough off the coast to not really bring any major wind threat anymore. And the pressure gradient and this ridge that was inducing this pressure gradient will also move further to the east to not bring more major any more of a major wind threat for the Northeast, which is definitely good news for a lot of you guys. But to summarize this video, just make sure to be aware in the Southeast because you could see another flood threat from these next two potential rainstorms. One that's going to impact you guys later today, and another that's could potentially be another significant rainstorm. And for the Northeast, make sure to bring those loose things inside because it's going to be a windy day, and just make sure to prepare for windy weather. However you usually prepare for a windy day. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. And I hope you guys have a good day.